Who needs what? Right, here goes. After Hakin's humdinger with Merlins Bridge, a game the Vikings won 4-3 thanks to an injury time winner from Shane Walsh, they lead Goodwick by 6 points going into the doubleheader tonight and Monday. Their goal difference, 101, is also 12 better than that of the Phoenix boys, 89, but if Kristan Bennett's men avoid defeat in either of the two games, they will be champions without that coming into play. Assessing Goodwick's chances is where it gets a tad complicated. First and foremost, they must win both games. If they manage to do so with an aggregate of 6 goals, i.e. 3-0 and 4-1, that will bring the sides level on goal difference, as Wayne O'Sullivan's men will gain 6 and Hakin will lose 6, which equals 12 incidentally. But even then, Hakin will be champions on goals scored, having found the net 13 more times already over the course of the season. So, the only way Goodwick can win the title is if they win both games with an aggregate of +7, i.e. 4-0 and 3-0, or 6-0 and 2-1. Hope you can make sense of that. Bevan's boys on the line, like when the two met in that title decider in 2015-16, the Pembrokeshire Football League have decided to provide 2 extra officials to run the line. Tom Bevan is in the middle, with Angus Fairfield and Di Badger his assistants. Given the experience of that trio, it appears Mr. Hawkins is taking no chances. I imagine the decision will again divide opinion, and I can see both sides. Teams involved in dodgy decisions from opposition linesmen during the 2017-18 season may feel aggrieved they haven't been afforded the same privilege. But on the other hand, it's common sense. With so much at stake and a large crowd inevitable, the last thing you want is uproar over perceived bias. Bevan, of course, won't be remotely fazed by the occasion, having handled numerous games at a higher level already. One thing he doesn't mess about with is dissent, and given we can expect an intense 90 minutes with tempers fraying, both sets of players will do well to speak shut wisely. Here we go again. Fair to say these teams know each other pretty well by now. Including Jubilee Cup, Bow Trophy, West Wales Cup and League matches, this will be the 12th time they have met since the start of the 2015-16 campaign. Goodwick have won 6 of those 11 games, one albeit via penalty shootout, Hakin 3, with 2 draws. But one stat the Phoenix boys have to rewrite tonight and Monday, is that in all those meetings the biggest margin between the sides has been 2 goals. And no, I don't have a record of the red card count. Fighting fatigue. Less than 3 days ago at the Liberty Stadium, Goodwick were of course crowned West Wales Intermediate Cup champions by beating Penland Club 1-0 in a game they finished with 10 men. To say the least, it would have been energy-sapping, and I'm fairly certain they didn't celebrate afterwards with rounds of squash on Wynn Street. So having just 72 hours to recover physically and mentally for a game of this magnitude isn't ideal, but when I spoke to Goodwick player-coach Chris O'Sullivan on Tuesday, he said they wouldn't be offering any excuses if they don't perform. Admittedly, Sully hadn't been to bed and was slurring at the time, but I'd like to think he'd say the same thing sober. On a serious note though, that attitude is exactly what the Phoenix boys need. If you go into any game with ready-made excuses, then psychologically, you've already lost the battle. And let's not forget, Hakin have hardly had their feet up themselves lately. That win over Bridge last Thursday was their 7th match in 14 days, and how both they and the Wizards were able to keep up that pace for 90-odd minutes was beyond me. Forget fatigue. Both sides will be going hell for leather tonight. Not in our backyard. Anyone with a remote interest in local football won't need reminding that, in the finale to the 2015-16 season at the OBs, Goodwick won the title with a 1-1 draw in the most highly anticipated Division I match in recent history. Yes, Hakin swiftly regained the trophy the following season, but make no mistake, that night will be etched in the memories of their players and supporters. And it will still hurt badly. This is payback time. Forget the OBs on Monday. Bennett and co will want this done tonight at Phoenix Park. On the contrary, that's a scenario the home side will be desperate to avoid. Whatever the result, the silverware is not on show tonight. That will be presented to the eventual champions at Hakin on Monday. Stick or twist, how each side approaches tonight will be fascinating. Both have tasted success in recent years, and yet their styles contrast vastly. Goodwick go about things in a professional manner. They have other sides watched, are meticulous with their tactics and game plans, and know how to manage a big occasion. That's why they have 2 West Wales Cup wins in 3 years. Furthermore, unsurprisingly with the O'Sullivan brothers at the helm, they don't lack for fitness. On Monday night they finished the stronger with 10 men, and made just one enforced change in the 90 minutes. Hakin are a different kettle of fish altogether. They go out to play football, and attack with a pace and precision that no other Pembrokeshire side can match. And when they click going forward, as they did in this season's Senior Cup final, they are nigh on impossible to stop. And like Goodwick, they can perform from the first minute to last. It's no coincidence that they regularly rack up late winners. But tonight, the onus is on the Phoenix boys to go for it. The first priority will be the win, but realistically a slender 1-goal success is not enough. I can only see Hakin playing one way, and if Goodwick do poor forward, that may suit skipper Nicky Woodrow and co. Where the Vikings may have a conundrum is if they are trailing by 1 or 2 goals late on, do they attack and try and claw it back? Or not risk further damage to their goal difference? I think I know the answer. Regardless, both defenses could be in for a bumpy ride. Team news: speaking of defenses, both teams could be disrupted at the back. Goodwick left-back Iaston Evans cruelly missed the final at the Liberty after pulling out in the warm-ups, and his replacement, LLYR Tobin, is suspended after his late red card. Chris O'Sullivan, I'd assume, is also out after being forced off with what appeared a nasty knee injury, replaced by Matty Delaney. The latter is likely to start tonight, and Anthony Cousins may fill the void at left-back. Given their need for goals, and with restalling still abroad, the displays of Monday's match winner Lee Hudgell, Johnny Horgan and Jordan Griffiths could be critical. The trio gives them pace going forward and can get at Hakin back for that may also be missing key personnel. Centre-back Daniel Armstrong is currently out with a shoulder injury, and against Bridge, both Bradley Barrett and Sion Price limped off early. Winger Adam John, meanwhile, is still suspended. But Hakin have a strong second team, Division II champions, to call on, and Bennett will have options if Barrett and Price have not recovered, with Jake Merry likely to come in. Ben Steele, who would walk into the front line of most Division I sides, is currently being deployed at right back and should slot in there again this evening. Midfielders and Welsh schoolboy internationals Jack Wilson and Ben Fawcett are in outstanding form, and as always, the movement of Harding and Woodrow up front will cause the hosts trouble. And given the need for composure and cool heads, I suspect Craig Nicholson may come back into the starting 11 in midfield. Also, Kristan Bennett had a big game at center back for the Vikings at the racecourse, and they'll need another one from him here. An exciting climax. Hakin are obviously in the driving seat, and like most, I don't expect them to lose both games by the deficit Goodwick need to win back the title. But regardless, both teams have my admiration for the way they have finished the season. On March 29, Goodwick drew 1-1 with Bridge and Hakin lost 5-4 to Carew. Since then, the Phoenix boys have won 7 consecutive league games and Hakin 12. No matter what level you play that, to keep the desire and ruthlessness going in that manner when games are coming thick and fast is a great effort, and as a result, we have a finale that will again captivate Pembrokeshire football fans. A lot has been said about the demise of certain aspects of the game in our county, and there will be more from me to come on what I believe needs looking at. But for now, let's enjoy that fact that two high-quality teams are taking the title race down to the wire in the latest chapter of a pretty epic rivalry.